Good morning. Welcome back to Bible and Blues. Sorry about the tell, but I kind of realized this time I could be doxing myself a little bit. Not a lot, but there's enough information. So, and seeing as how I've taken to really pissing people off lately, I thought maybe, hey, I think was it, unnamed. What did you call himself? Okay, I'll have to look it up. Give the guy credit. He disagrees philosophically. He doesn't. He claims to not believe in God, or at least not Christianity. But he did give me some good advice. Hey, you know what? You're kind of doxing yourself. You need to be more careful. And I have to give him credit. He's probably right. I need to be more careful, especially since I have taken an active role against the onslaught of online atheist, trendy fidget spinning stuff. Okay, and yeah, so it's kind of the way I consider it. I'll be honest with you, because it's blown up so much in the past 10 years or so. It's grown dramatically in the past 10 years, partially because of the internet, partially because of your four horsemen that people call them. There's Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, Christopher Hitchens, and there's one other dude that I never hear about. So, and so between, with that, I mean, you have their writing. So actually, I've actually ordered a book that pretty much annihilates their books by Borden Painter. And I should be getting that late next week, because I'm too cheap to pay for Amazon Prime. So I have to wait for free shipping. Okay, so guess what? Instant gratification. I can live without it sometimes. So, okay, so that's not even my commentary today. My commentary has to do with the fact that something that I've heard a few talk about this, because they've seen a rise in their stats, and like I said, over the past 10 years, they're not necessarily wrong that's happened now, and this is why I call it trendy. Okay, this is why I call it, really kind of a fall. It's not really. It's just people getting on a trend, on the online trend, and the people who live their lives online, which is, I mean, we all have a certain, anybody that's even watching this video has a certain amount of their lives online, but it's not real life. Okay. And if you think it is, well, then that's a problem you have, and maybe you need some therapy to kind of learn how to deal with reality, because we still have to have a job, we still have to pay bills. Trust me, there's a high price to pay if you don't pay those bills, even if you pay them online. They need to get paid. So one of the things somebody pointed out, that even by age 3. Children have an understanding of the spiritual, have an understanding that there is a spiritual side to the world, and a desire to know it. Even though, yes, it's a 3-year-old stance, they can't necessarily know it, but it's bred into us. We seek a spiritual side. And why do we do that? To understand our place, yes, but we do that because God put that in us to seek Him. Now He gave us free will to seek it, and so there's a lot of possibilities. And people talk about in the theistic world, that God spread His knowledge throughout the world, and that's one of the reasons why we do it. But we seek some sort of understanding of a higher power, and we know that's out there. And if you don't have that in you at all, then that's a part of the broken world we live in, and that's a part of the whole concept of original sin, and the world's broken, and we as humans, once we gained the knowledge we did, brought the whole concept of the brokenness of the world into the world. And so that's how we can end up with people who are, who have these really strange attributes that seem to go completely against the grain of everybody else. I mean, 85% of the population of the world believes in a higher power of some kind. Okay? Whether it is, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Taoism, there's whatever ism it might be. That there's a higher, and then atheism has its own. And if you deny that, trust me, look at some of the comment section. There are some vitriolic, holier than thou atheists that hop onto there. Okay, that are, they're just, wow, they have anger issues in there. I do pay attention to them. I talk to them a little bit, and I'm actually in the middle of a conversation with one right now. I'm trying to understand what he, where he's going, what his point is, I understand where he's headed in his conversation. His current step is he's trying to show how God, ordered the murder and genocide of people. It's like, well, we have to discuss that because you need to understand that, Jesus or God didn't, did that for a reason. I mean, if you consider these people were actually sacrificing, they had a huge statue, okay, and they would heat the statue up with a fire below it, okay, and this statue would get hotter and hotter and hotter, and the arms would be like this, the arms would be out like this, okay. Then you take an infant, you take a baby, okay, undress it, and you place it on those red hot freaking hands. And the baby screams and sizzles. Okay? And you sacrifice that child to your deity. Yeah, I'm okay with, what God did with them. The order he placed him. That doesn't bother me that much. Okay? And they did this for 400 years. Okay? And Saul didn't do what he was told. And within 20 years, they were back to attacking the Israelites. Okay? So, there you go. I mean, these are the kind of things that and you're not having a historical perspective of what was happening and a potential reasoning behind it, a justification that God might have had for this. Do you want to leave him alone? Do you want to just say, oh, I'm just going to stop you from doing that? Yeah, try that. That really works, doesn't it? So, God's perspective of life and death is totally different from ours. Okay? Children who are too young to make a decision for their own are automatically in. Okay? So, and that leaves a whole lot of people who are complicit in these kind of actions. Okay? Who practice these kinds of actions. And how do we know this? Historical documents. So, I actually watched a video. I have to verify everything before I really get into it because, but there's a whole lot of information and a whole lot of reading that I just straight up don't have time to do, so I probably won't touch too much on it. But the historical documentation of the existence of Jesus, and it's from several people who are chronicling things, and so that backs up the existence of Jesus and whether he was crucified or not, and his followers and all that stuff. So so these are actual. So getting into historical documents and historical period of time, and examining what was actually happening. Why would God tell them to commit this kind of an act that we would be like, no, genocide's wrong. Yeah, you're right. Genocide for man's reasons is 100% wrong. If you're going to commit genocide because you just don't like a people, or they're in your way, or you want their land, so just commit. Genocide's a huge deal. All right, what Hitler did was a huge deal. He was attempting to, just eradicate the Jews. And, again, historically, if you actually look at the documentation and try to call Hitler a Catholic, he's not a practicing Catholic. He actually considered himself linked to deity. Okay, he was not. So he considered himself. He had raised himself to godhood. Anyway, I'm kind of digress. I'm kind of all over the place, and I know that there's going to be comments down below. There's going to be hate and vitriol, which I may or may not respond to today. Certainly not today. I've got a busy day ahead of me, and maybe tomorrow I'll get around to it. But anyway, there we go. We are here to get God's word in, and to the atheists, this is the part where you check out, right? Okay, so. You're already typing in the comment section. Good job. All right. Psalm 142, a maskil of David when he was in the cave. A prayer. You remember the part? You know the story, and I would hope you do. Where David was in the cave, and Saul, who was chasing him down to kill him, rested in that same cave. So they were in the same cave together. It's just David was deeper down in the cave. So, and this is where this is. I cry aloud to the Lord. I lift my voice to the Lord for mercy. I pour out my complaints before him. Before him, I tell my trouble. When my spirit grows faint within me, it is you who know my way. In the path where I walk, men have hidden a snare for me. Look to my right and see. No one is concerned for me. I have no refuge. No one cares for my life. I cry to you, O Lord. I say, you are my refuge, my portion in the land of the living. Listen to my cry, for I am in desperate need. Rescue me from those who pursue me, for they are too strong for me. Set me free from my prison, that I may praise your name. Then the righteous will gather about me because of your goodness in me. Here is the reading of the Lord. Thanks be to God. And you think about that. You think about where he was at the time that he wrote this. At the time that this, and he was in the cave. And Saul, the King Saul, who had gone mad, and was attempting to find him, to kill him, and stamp out this man who developed greater popularity than King Saul. Was going to just and Saul had done some horrible things in the process of this, and things that would generally be considered evil. He went to one town that had harbored King David for a period of time. That was before he was king, of course, and had harbored David for a period of time, and he completely wiped out that entire town just because of that. And so these things, that was a very trying, stressful time. You can just imagine. Wait, he's here, and then there's the story that follows that point, where they went up to him and they cut and David cut off a corner of Saul's cloak, and then they escaped, and from across the valley they shouted out, "Hey, you see, check your cloak. I have that corner. I did that. I could have killed you, but I didn't. Please honor that." And instead, Saul simply got more angry. So anyway, because he felt the fool at that point, and that was probably not, but probably not the best thing to do. It's kind of like when I really get to poking the atheists. Probably not always the best thing to do, but we do these things, don't we? So anyway, I hope you have a great day. It is Friday, and it has been a long week at work. I realize I haven't posted that much this week because it has been a crazy, very difficult work week, and home week was very it's extra complicated things going on there, but it was good. I'm going to take the whole work week thing, hopefully wrap it up and tie it off a little bow and not leave too much hanging for Monday. So hopefully we can get that all taken care of and make people happy. So in the world of industrial. So All right, so you have a great day. God bless, and I pray for your day to be good, for your week to wrap up nicely, and that you can find Jesus and in your quiet time and receive the comfort of the ultimate counselor. Amen.